This man is the world's leading hypnotist. Pioneering, unconventional, considered by some to be dangerous. He'll do whatever it takes to cure a problem. When other hypnotists can't crack a case, they call Dr. Richard Bandler.
I've been called everything from a charlatan to a genius. Whether they look at me as being really magical or whether they look at me as being a charlatan, the truth is I get results when they don't.
Tonight, Bandler tackles Ricky Johnson's crippling claustrophobia. Victim of a planejacking 27 years ago, she now experiences a fear of flying and an acute anxiety whenever she's confronted by confined spaces. Above all, she wants to fly again so she can visit her grandchildren she hasn't seen in 3 years. Ricky's condition is affecting every aspect of her life, and it's getting worse.
Anything that I can do that'll help me through this would be welcome.
Can the king of hypnotism cure Ricky's claustrophobia?
I believe anybody can change anytime, any place, anything.
Ricky Johnson grew up in the 1950s in Westchester with not a care in the world.
It was one of sort of an old-style neighborhood where all the children, no matter what ages on the street, all played with each other. One of the fun aspects was that my father owned airplanes. My father was a pilot during World War II. He flew everything from biplanes to crop dusters, everything. Where most American kids at that time are learning to drive, I was learning to fly. So when I got my pilot's license just before my 17th birthday. It's now completely ironic that I have a phobia at this point in my life about being in large planes packed with so many people.
Ricky's life took a dramatic turn when she was on holiday in Peru.
I was traveling in the Amazon and going back from the capital of the Amazon to Lima.
Tragically for Ricky, the plane she was on was hijacked by Maoist guerrillas, the Shining Path.
It was terrifying. Their masks and Uzis. It was very hot. I started to shake and gripping the handles of the seat as if I wanted to just pull the seat right out of the floor. No air coming in. There were points where I didn't think I'd ever see the States again. I was basket case on that plane. Sorry, I'm just,
I know a lot about how the brain is actually wired up. That nowadays with MRIs and CAT scans and PET scans, we're able to look at what's actually functioning when somebody has a panic attack versus a phobic response, versus depression and all these other things. And I know a lot about how to hack into the brain and get back and change that programming so that people can be happier.
Having reviewed her case notes, Bandler suspects Ricky's problem is far more complicated than a relatively simple phobia.
Does it occur in other places?
yes,
He believes she is suffering from acute panic attacks, but he wants to talk to her before confirming his diagnosis.
How long has this been going on?
When he talks to Ricky, he discovers she experiences panic attacks nearly every day, some lasting up to 20 minutes. As Bandler suspected, Ricky's brain has taught her body to react to stress by effectively closing down, resulting in acute and frequent panic attacks.
So we'll go ahead and make arrangements to meet then, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, I'll see you soon.
I need to open a window because I have to be in a room with a window opened all the time.
She doesn't have a phobia. In fact, she's got very classic panic attacks. In fact, I'm sure a lot of this manifested itself before the traumatic event of going to Peru. My approach to things is a little bit different than most people. I'm not so much interested in what caused something. What's important here is what she does in the future. And if I can give her some new tools and teach her to learn some new things, she'll find her way out of this.
Coming up, Bandler forces Ricky to confront her worst nightmares.
You really have to just go through it and get to the other side and get it over with.
Will Bandler's techniques work? Ricky Johnson suffers from acute panic attacks
Have to be in a room with the window opened all the time.
after being hijacked 27 years ago. Conventional therapy and drugs have failed her. She's desperate to fly again so she can visit her grandchildren on the West Coast. Although skeptical of hypnosis, it's her last hope. She is about to meet one of America's top hypnotists, Dr. Richard Bandler. Will his treatment cure her once and for all?
Just feeling very uneasy at the moment.
Hello, you must be Ricky.
Ricky,
Ricky.
yes, nice to meet
Hi.
you.
Hi. Will you sit down? Do that. See, if you had your eyes closed and you were on the plane, you would still know that you couldn't move around, wouldn't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it would scare the piss out of you.
Yes.
See, that's a good thing because it means it's not the plane scaring you, and it's not the people. There's something inside your mind.
Bandler begins his treatment with what seems like a general conversation. But unknowingly for Ricky, the process of hypnosis has already started.
All of that stuff amounts to an enormous amount in the moments of your life.
Bandler is planting clever hypnotic metaphors.
Well, it's easier to avoid things than to face them. Well, it is if you don't have the right tools.
The first technique Bandler wants to teach Ricky is one he invented called fast phobia disassociation.
Okay, let the picture come up and write it out now. That's it.
First, he confronts her trauma, the hijacking, an event she believes has blighted her life.
Your imagination is a trap. If you can imagine in your mind this event with the terrorists, you feel like it's happening.
He gets her to play the events backwards in her mind, gradually reducing the size of pictures, the colors, and introducing a comic soundtrack.
When you ran the memory backwards of the terrorists, and you ran it really fast and put a little circus music in, it's not nearly so terrifying, is it?
No.
Bandler also invented the next technique, now widely used to overcome any overwhelming feeling, be they fears or cravings. Bandler noticed that feelings start in the pit of the stomach and spread upwards through the body until it overwhelms the individual. These feelings spin in one direction and at a set speed. When asked to give their fear of a color, most people will say it is red. Bandler gets his patients to imagine the fear as a spinning red circle. He then gets them to visualize reversing the spinning circle, giving it another color, such as blue. This produces different chemicals in the body, altering the neural networks in the brain.
Feels better, doesn't it?
Moving it out.
By changing the brain's responses to certain feelings, the patient develops a new sense of control over their fears.
Okay.
That's right.
The third technique is formal hypnosis.
See yourself walking into an elevator.
Ricky's brain has been effectively overprotecting her, resulting in panic attacks.
If you're just sick to death of having all this fear,
Bandler needs to override this programming. He needs to get her into a state of relaxation so he can instruct her unconscious to reprogram itself.
I want you to say, not this time.
Treatment over. Ricky is in for a shock. Has she understood how to use the techniques Bandler has taught her?
I can walk out.
You can. Now, does that mean you have to?
No, if I want to.
That's right. Part of the reason I closed her in the corner was so that I could test how well it was working. It's going to start slowly. I mean, I want to take her out to a couple of places and literally joke with her to the point where she can start to get a handle on this. It's going to be work. It's going to take some time for it to start to generalize through her life. This is a really powerful first step.
Round, round, get around, I get around, yeah, get around, round, round, I get around, I get around, round, round, I get around, round, round, I get around.
The next stage is Ricky's worst nightmare, confined spaces.
So are you excited?
Well, it's something that I'm going to have to face.
This man is the world's leading hypnotist, pioneering